Well, thank you so much, everyone who came today. My name is Esquivel, and that's me working actually. I didn't prepare a presentation super like professional as I should have, but honestly, I wanted you to focus more on what I want to say today. Um, so the team is behind the reel, and when I start thinking, honestly, it's been kind of difficult for me to get exactly to what I'm gonna say about this because it's such a broad topic. I feel like everyone who's been on social media, either you are an influencer or you are not, you just do your normal social media, you're more private or whatever. You usually share the parts of yourself that you want people to see about you, right? Like that's what you want to be recognized for, and that's what you'd like to share. But there are so many things about ourselves that we always keep only for ourselves, right? And there are so many parts of ourselves that we choose to hide and we choose to like never brought up ever. And that's honestly kind of like my case. I mean, I am now really, really confident speaking in public. And I was like that since really young age. Like to give context about who I am, I started being on TV when I was around 8 years old. I used to do ads. Like I remember my first ad, I'm literally smiling like this because I was missing my front teeth. So I was that young, imagine. And then one time I told my mom, like, Mom, I want to be on TV. So she took me to this contest. It was like 200 kids and I won. So I became like a TV presenter. When I was like 9, I was super young. But somehow I knew what I wanted to do. Super easy, like no doubt. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to record. I wanted people to record me. I was good with the microphone. Like it was my natural talent. Nobody told me like you have to do this. It really just came natural. Um, and then, yeah, later on I just started doing ads and ads and ads. And then I told my mom like, Mom, now I want to be a model. So my mom, she was always like, why can't you just like be normal, you know? And then she took me to a lot of castings and whatever, so I did a lot of ads and whatnot. But then I started going to like middle school and high school, and people start making fun of me, you know, because it's like, haha, look at her, she's the girl who is on TV. So obviously, when you are younger, and it still happens to a lot of adults, of course, but especially when you're younger, right? You don't really know like who you are. You're still kind of like discovering yourself, you're discovering your talents, you're discovering who you are in general. And obviously when there's people and you're lacking or you're really craving to be accepted, right, by groups of people or by a specific person, your family, whatever, you're craving this acceptance. And you know, when people make fun of you, those type of things make you kind of like want to hide the good things about you. So for example, when people start making fun of me, I start to feel honestly silly about myself. You know, I was just like, yeah, maybe what I want, what I like is just silly. So I spent a lot of my years just trying to find out who I was, but it was really clear when I was younger, right? Later on, I just kind of like lost track of it because of all of this external noise and opinions of people. And honestly, I don't blame myself because I was really young and I was just following whatever people were saying was cool or whatever what people were saying was nice, right? So if people were thinking what I was doing is silly, they must be right. Like, right? So, I mean, I wish, there are so many things I wish I knew. Let's say I'm 28 today. There are so many things I wish I knew 10 years ago, right, when I was 18. But I see now with different lens than a decade ago. So that's why I said like practicing self-forgiveness is really important, you know, because sometimes we make a lot of silly mistakes in the past. Anyway, so I went to middle school, high school. I did 3 years of high school and the bullying was really bad. So I went out of high school and I did the remaining 3 years in 1 year. So I went to college when I was 16. I started studying communication and public relations. So I had a full-on communications degree, and I did a corporate job for around 5 years. I got my first job when I was 18. So I worked like around 5 years, and by the time I was 22, I was already tired of the office. So I said like, no, I want to change. And I became a cabin crew. here in Qatar. I flew for 2 years and I was like, no, this is really not for me. And I start feeling really frustrated because I thought I already made the change, right? To just move and that's it. But the thing is, like, I never really put on the work to change myself internally. Everything that I was working for was always external, like how I was gonna look, what people were gonna think about me, what people are gonna say about me. I never really took the time to kind of like get to know myself. And if there is something that I have a presence on social media, and there is something that I always want to remind people, especially the younger girls and the younger boys as well, but especially girls, because I'm a girl, right? It is to remember who you are. And how can I get to know myself, right? Like, behind the real, there is one thing called authenticity. And we talk about it, but I don't think we talk about it enough. Like, we don't talk about how important it is to be authentic, because look, when you live life through authenticity, naturally, opportunities are going to present themselves to you, because you're living life through who you actually are. And how do you discover who you are, right? You kind of like turn off the button that makes you care about what people are thinking about you or saying about you, because you cannot live life through what people are saying or thinking about you. You know, like, the only really important concept ever is your own, about yourself. Because even what you think about someone else, it doesn't really affect them if they know who they are. And it was until I acquired this mindset of, like, you know what, I'm not gonna care if people think I'm silly, I'm just going to start doing videos. But wait, before that, I made a really important decision, which was quitting my job as a flight attendant. And sometimes when you are making the decision of being more authentic and live more like you are, you're going to have to ignore important people in your life. And I'm not here to be a bad example, because I really am not. But when I told my mom, I want to quit my flight attendant job, she told me no. She was like, what do you mean no? You cannot do that. And I was like, no, I can, and I will. So I had to ignore my mom, and I had to follow my instincts. I had to follow what I thought was right at that moment, because I was really, really unhappy. And my happiness, I made the decision of my happiness being first forever, you know? And after I made the decision and I quit my job, I started making TikToks, like, just literally speaking. And the more that I started doing videos, the more I realized I didn't care. Like, if people were calling me cringe all the time, even until today, I'm like, just please make something new. Like, I've heard cringe too much, really, like, enough, you know? And I just started doing all of these videos, and I became really, like, bulletproof to anything. I was just like, you know, I really don't care whatever people think about me. And this mindset really made me understand who I actually am. And the only way that we can understand who we are is by listening to our inner voice. Like, no, Marion, this is right, or like, this is wrong, this is the path that you have to take. And you know, the path or the answers or the things that you want or where you're going is not really always going to be clear. Like, it's not like I quit my job and I had like a full plan. I didn't really. I had no savings and I had no plan B. But I knew I had to, something good was coming from that risk for sure. So at the same time, you know, to become more authentic, I believe that we need to take steps, because let's say I took a step, and that step to show me that that path isn't right. So I can already discard that path and go the other way. But when I'm not really doing anything, it's really difficult for us to know where are we heading next. What I'm saying is making any sense to you? Please tell me, because I don't know. Yes? You can also say no. Like, no, Marion, sorry, I don't understand it. So yeah, I mean, if there is something that I would really, really like to emphasize today and kind of like remind you of, is that living in authenticity means that you will ignore what people are saying or thinking about you, and you will really only listen to yourself. Because the more that you do that, the more that you get to know yourself, and the more that you can reconnect with your natural talents. We all are given natural talents, and it's up to us if we can if we want to make good use of them, or we cannot. Maybe I'm good at something that people are thinking is silly, right? Because it happens to so many of us. But at the same time, I always think like, if I am not the main character in my life, who is going to be? You know, when you think about it. And at the same time, I believe like we have to kind of like realize that when we are in a good mental shape and physical shape and emotional shape, naturally whatever is around us is going to flourish as well, you know? But whenever we are unhappy and we don't really know who we are and we are confused and we don't really think we're worthy of good things, that's what life is going to show us, you know? So the more that you live through to fulfill yourself, the more that's what life is going to reflect back to you. And something that honestly really helped me a lot was journaling. And I had to be alone. You know, for a really long time, I had to like kind of like say bye to friends that I had, and I just had to start focusing on getting to know myself, because I spent around 26 years by myself. And I never really got to know myself. And I forgot for so long that I was really good at speaking. And I forgot for a really long time that I was really good at acting. You know, I totally forgot about it, which is crazy because I was a TV presenter and I was doing ads and I was modeling and I was doing all of this when I was younger. And I got so caught up with the external, you know, I got so caught up with people's opinions that I just forgot. I fully forgot about my natural talents. So I think it's always important that you ask yourself, like, wait, what is something that actually makes me happy? And you can also like start from there. Like ask yourself, what am I naturally good at? And what is something that makes me just happy, fulfilled? And slowly you can start taking actions every single day that are going to take you there. You know, when I started this path and I quit my job, I didn't have in my mind that I was going to be able to open my consultancy agency in Qatar. And I also founded a ladies-only community in Qatar, where my goal is to remind girls that they can be fully themselves. You know, you have to embrace your personality. And I think it's really difficult nowadays, specifically with social media. We're always comparing ourselves to other people. And the more that we compare ourselves, the more we lose focus into who we actually are. You know, I'm so focused that I want to be like her, and I want to have what she has, and I want to look like her, that I stop taking care of myself. And when you think about it, that's crazy, but we all go through that, and it's natural. I believe something that has to happen in life for sure is like we kind of have to lose ourselves in the process of living, because we are stressed and we are angry and we are everything, right? But with the time, we start realizing that we have the key for success and happiness, which is ourselves. So I hope that you liked my speech today, and thank you so much.